This is a presentation of the ATU's Phase 2 Environmental Modification Services. The focus will be on our home modification process, which includes the evaluation, the different types of possible modifications on equipment, funding options, and construction timelines. After receiving notification from a prime agency to look at a specific apartment, we review all pertinent information from the Phase 1 ADL mobility evaluation done by the ATU. Some clients won't require a Phase 1 evaluation, so we'll have to rely on direction from the prime on exactly what to provide, or a client's needs can sometimes be obtained from the medical history details within the initial client referral documents. We then set up an appointment to see the selected unit. We prefer to see the apartment before a lease is signed and certainly before the client moves, but this is not always possible. After assessing the unit, we identify the minimum level of modifications required for safe transition within ATU Colbert budget guidelines. Sometimes a compromise is required if costs are exceedingly high or if site conditions are such that the modifications are simply not feasible. I'll go over the ATU budget later in this presentation. Two important things to remember for all Colbert or Williams clients. First, we need approval from the property owner for all modifications, even if it's something as simple as installing one grab bar. Second, for all modifications implemented by the ATU, they are all permanent. The Colbert program does not pay for any modification to be restored to its original condition. The Phase 2 evaluation consists of assessing the rental building for one exterior entrance and the interior travel conditions from that entrance through the building to the apartment. We look at stairs, level changes, hallway clearances, and elevator door widths. Once we get to the apartment, we assess entry door widths, access to the bathroom, and access to at least one bedroom, if there is one. Though this is not typical, depending on specific recommendations from the prime, we may assess the kitchen if the client is medically complex and will be doing a lot of their own cooking and will not be receiving a lot of homemaker services. All Phase 2 modifications can be classified as either basic or complex. This designation is based on cost and/or construction complexity. Basic modifications are usually within the ATU $5,000 budgeted for each class member, require only a brief set of specifications, and have a faster turnaround time. Complex modifications are usually above the ATU budget, require an expanded set of specifications, need to be bid out to multiple contractors, and often require additional funding support from the client's long-term support services insurance provider, LTSS. As you can expect, complex modifications have a longer completion time. Again, it's important to remember that for both basic and complex modifications, landlord approval is required. All modifications by the ATU are done by licensed, insured, state-approved contractors, not by ATU or other UIC staff. Phase 2 basic modifications typically only involve the installation of grab bars, handheld shower heads with a slider bar, and a raised toilet seat attachment. We create a basic specification scope document with equipment sizes and locations for our contractor. Most modifications falling into this category have a fairly rapid turnaround time and can be performed within 1 week of our contractor receiving our landlord-approved scope document. Here are some examples of the most common safety equipment specified for a basic modification. Wall-attached and floor-to-ceiling tension-mounted grab bars, handheld shower heads, and raised toilet seats are items that together require only 2 to 4 hours to install. Here are some examples of items that can also be installed during a basic modification, though it's less often that clients require these. This slide shows actual case samples of basic safety equipment installations. Here are some examples of the less common basic modification safety equipment. Offset hinges that can increase a doorway's clearance by 1.5 inches, grab bars installed within a doorway frame to help a client walk up a step to a side entrance from the garage and a modular handrail system coupled with an additional stepping surface for a client who could not lift their leg up the full height of an existing step. Modifications categorized as complex are usually more labor intensive and therefore more expensive. We create an expanded specification scope document, which usually includes site photos, equipment sizes and locations, and detailed architectural drawings. This scope document is sent to multiple contractors for bid. Participating contractors must submit a bid proposal to us within 2 weeks of them receiving our scope document. The ATU, as part of the University of Illinois system, must receive at least 3 bids in order to fulfill state bidding contract requirements for all work done by an outside vendor. Of the bids received, we review them for the best price, and the winning contractor is notified. Since almost all complex modifications are above the ATU $5,000 budget, additional funding from one of 2 sources is required. If the client is over 60 years of age, then we should use the Illinois Department of Aging waiver. Approval is granted on a case-by-case basis by DHS. If the client is under 60 years of age, then we should use the DRS waiver funds. The client's long-term support services provider is responsible for managing and dispersing those DRS waiver funds, so their approval is required. Complex modifications have a longer turnaround time and can range anywhere from 2 to 4 months from the moment our expanded specifications are sent to contractors. Patience is of utmost importance during this process because long-term support service providers may take a while to review and approve any funding we request. So it is crucial for a prime agency to provide the ATU with LTSS contact information early in the process. The ATU, housing locators, and prime agencies must all work together to make sure all needed information is provided in a timely manner so that we can successfully manage a client's move expectations. Here are some examples of typical complex modifications: ramps, platforms, vertical platform lifts, and stairway chair lifts are all viable solutions for clients who use wheelchairs for mobility. Another example of a complex modification is a power door opener. The openers can consist of a push plate on a wall or a remote control for clients unable to reach or with any other upper extremity mobility issue. Though adding openers might seem like a simple fix, it can be very involved and expensive. New electrical wiring and outlets have to be added, and for a building with an existing buzzer system, the new openers have to be wired into the building's power and buzzer system. A complex modification for a bathroom can involve removing existing fixtures and installing new wall-mounted accessible sinks, roll-in showers, and bariatric ADA height toilets. A few complex modification case examples are a bathroom that received a new accessible sink, a new ADA height toilet, a roll-in shower, and because there was no wall, a floor-to-ceiling grab bar next to the toilet. Another client needed an accessible sink for the bathroom, but due to high overall cost, we were able to compromise on a solution where a bathroom vanity was removed, but the actual sink top was reused and placed on cantilevers, allowing for the client to roll under the sink while still seated in a wheelchair. A client in a power wheelchair required vertical access to a single-family rental home with a front door that was 52 inches above ground level. The best solution was a powered vertical platform lift. In addition to this platform lift, a new pressure-treated level landing needed to be built on top of the old porch and adjacent to the lift to allow for a smooth transition to and through the front door. New stairs were also added for continued foot access to the home for the client's family. Modification like this definitely required a detailed drawing, as we provided to contractors. Here are some photos of completed work showing the new platform, the new vertical platform lift, and the client using the vertical platform lift. Here are some photos of a client who also required vertical access to the main level of a first floor rental home, but only needed to ascend approximately 12 inches to the front door. A modular ramp system consisting of a 5x5 landing platform and 12-foot length of ramp was used to accomplish access. Here is another example of a complex modification where a client required an accessible bathroom on the first floor of her daughter's home. There was not enough room to install a stairway chairlift to get the client up to the full bathroom on the second floor. Due to the spacious layout of the first floor, we were able to increase the size of an existing half bath. The bathroom was expanded in 2 directions with all new fixtures, including a roll-in shower, an ADA toilet, an accessible sink, and multiple grab bars. The client and her daughter were very pleased with the results. The client wasn't able to access his bedroom or his bathroom because of his wide powered wheelchair and a tight hallway. So multiple doorways were modified to allow access to the bedroom and then access to the bathroom through that bedroom's closet. More examples of complex modifications include removing a concrete ledge so a client could access the parking lot while in her wheelchair. Another client who was unable to make a tight turn in her power wheelchair. So to avoid having to traverse a narrow hallway, a second wider doorway was installed to allow direct access to her bedroom off the living room. An example of a rare kitchen modification was for a client who needed to be able to access the sink so that he can engage in meal prep and dishwashing during times when his homemaker and family were unavailable. The cabinet doors were removed so he could roll under the sink while still seated in his wheelchair. Some examples of uncommon modifications that the ATU can provide is the removal of carpeting that is too thick and replacing it with hard flooring, and also installing pull-down shelving to make upper wall cabinets in kitchens more accessible to someone seated in a wheelchair. Unfortunately, there are times when we cannot modify an apartment at all to meet a client's accessibility needs, either because of high cost or adverse site conditions. In some situations, we've had success utilizing commercially available portable bathing systems that can be placed on floors in an open area of the apartment near a water source for client use. The shower bay is a standalone system with a door and adjustable shower head, 25 feet length of shower hose, and drainage in the base. The light shower is a lightweight system with much of the same functionality as the shower bay. It can be floor-based or it can be placed on a bed for clients with limited mobility. Portable lifts should be used along with this system to safely lift the client into the shower pan while it is placed on the bed. You can visit showerbay.com and also lightshower.com for more product details. This concludes our presentation on ATU Phase 2 services. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us, and thank you for your attention.